Good afternoon, YouTubers. Welcome back into another round of Astros Recap Postseason edition. So it is Thursday afternoon, 2:16 p.m., October 21st. So the Astros have completed now 5 games in the ALCS. Crazy, pretty crazy. The Astros obviously lead the series 3-2, so they're in the driver's seat as we come back to Minute Maid Park starting tomorrow. I have a plane flight in about 5 hours, so wanted to do this, get this posted so you guys can watch it, things like that. But a few things before I actually get into the Astros here. Still having issues with the video, some staticky noise in the background. I don't know why that's happening more often now than in previous podcasts. It's just something I really can't deal with. Obviously, I had, a big microphone that was supposed to work perfectly. That sort of broke. My computer couldn't recognize it, so I'm back to my old mic. I've been using this mic for a while now. It really hasn't given me a whole lot of trouble, but if there is staticky in the background, again, it's just something I can't control at this point until I possibly get another microphone. But this is what I have to deal with. You can't see it in the screen here, but it's a very small microphone right in front of. Look, this is it right here. That's the size of my microphone right there. That's what I'm speaking into. So I don't know why you could hear that, but yeah. Anyway, so yes, the Astros. It's crazy how quickly things can change in 24 hours. Obviously, I left you off Game 2. The Astros got beat down pretty good. Now, the final score, which was 9-5. Really didn't dictate how the game sort of played out, because you had 2 grand slams first, second innings for the Red Sox, so they were out to an 8-0 lead like that, and the Astros really at that point really didn't have a chance. It was more so getting through the game with our bullpen, getting length from some guys. Basically, that was sort of the goal, and then getting your day off and going into Fenway Park at a game apiece in the series. So obviously, the Astros in Game 3 was a whole lot more of the same thing. Jose Urquidy got the start. We talked briefly about him. I said I liked his chances. The stage isn't too big. He's pitched in these big games before. Only thing that really concerned me maybe a little bit was the fact that, making sure my door's closed over there, only thing that concerned me with Urquidy a little bit was the fact that he hadn't pitched in 2 weeks. So it was, pitchers, when they're in their routines and they're pitching, once every 5 days, and you get into that rhythm in the season, sometimes when you take 2 weeks off, that can throw you out of whack a little bit. So I don't know if that played a part. Urquidy in the first inning set them down 1-2-3, so he got off to a good start. I think he got an out to start the 4th inning, and then that's when he ran into trouble. Started nibbling on the corners a little bit, walked a few batters. I know Valdez had a base hit that drove in a run with the bases loaded, 1 out. They were just going station to station. Now, something that sort of gets swept under the rug that I do want to bring up is with the bases loaded, 1 out in the 2nd inning of Game 3. 1-0 Red Sox lead, bases loaded, bottom of the 2nd. Urquidy's out there. He's laboring a little bit, obviously. He gets a ground ball. Tailor-made, right to Altuve. They're playing the double play depth. It looks like an easy flip to Correa, throw to first, 4-6-3 double play out of the inning, down 1-0. But that was not the case. Altuve. Now, I'm not going to say the hop was perfect, but it's a play that he needs to make, and that's the second error, crucial error he's made. Those of you that don't remember, he actually erred in Game 1, which led to 2 runs. Obviously, he also hit the 2-run home run in that game to tie it, so he sort of redeemed himself. But in this game, yeah, he botched. He booted the ball. It led to another run, and then the big grand slam by Schwarber that made it 6-0 in the 1st inning. So, or the 2nd inning, I should say. But yes, people don't think about that. But if Altuve handles that hop and makes the play that he should make, you get out of the inning at 1-0, and you're feeling okay about your chances. But he doesn't make it, and it leads to 5 runs. So, I mean, it's simple things like that. Defense plays a huge part, as we all know. When it comes to postseason, the Astros defense all year has been great. Obviously, you think of Bregman, Correa, Altuve, and Yuli. They're all Gold Glove caliber infielders. But yeah, it didn't work the way we thought, and you look up and in the blink of an eye you're down 6-0. So Game 3 quickly turned into a microcosm of Game 2. You're down big. What are you going to do? I mean, you're down. It's only the second inning, so if your bats can, put something together here quickly, you can put yourself in a decent position. That wasn't really the case. In fact, the Red Sox added on 3 more runs. I think J.D. Martinez hit a 2-run home run. I believe that was the case. Urquidy's out of the game at this point. In fact, I'm going to turn to my phone here so I can give you the exact line here. But, yeah, it was 9-0. I'll get back to this in a second. But, yeah, 9-0. Now, Kyle Tucker does hit a 3-run home run to make it 9-3. But that's as close as the Astros would get. I mean, it was 6-0, 9-3. I believe the Red Sox win that 12-3. So, Games 2 and Game 3 were very similar in the fact that the Red Sox got off to a hot start with the bats. Our pitchers couldn't really get out of the second inning, and so on and so forth. The next 7-8 innings were basically just, get through the game and try to set yourself up in a decent spot for tomorrow. That's basically how both those games went. So yeah, that was not good. I thought Urquidy could pitch a little bit better, but that was not the case. So as I turn to this game here on the phone, 12-3 was the final here. So we talked about Tucker's 3-run home run. Urquidy goes 1 2/3 before he gets taken out. 5 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned. The one unearned run was Altuve's error we mentioned. Yimi Garcia got 4 outs, but he gave up 3 earned runs on his own, so he wasn't very good. And then it was Taylor, Raley, Maton, and Stanek to finish things out. Raley, Maton, and Stanek all got tagged with an earned run of themselves to give them all 12 of their runs. Yeah, you got 6 plus 3 plus 3. That sounds like 12 runs, right? Yeah. But yeah, Yimi Garcia wasn't very good. Taylor came in, walked a guy, gave up a hit, struck out a guy, but didn't give. He was the only pitcher of all 7 that actually didn't give up any runs. Everybody else did. So yeah, 12-3. Pitching, so you had a day off going before this game, so you had some rest. Obviously, Odorizzi ate up 4 innings in Game 2, which did help, even though he gave up 3 earned runs of his own. He gave up the second grand slam to Rafael Devers, but he did at least give us 4 innings in a game that we were so far behind. I was just trying to get through those innings, really. But yeah, the Astros, I mean, think about this. Game 1, what does Valdez go? 2 2/3? And we'll talk about Valdez here in a minute, but he goes 2 2/3. Game 2, Luis Garcia goes an inning. He also left with an apparent injury, but he was going to get taken out either way. The injury almost seems sort of like get me off this mound or something like that. I don't like to make fun of when people get hurt, but obviously Garcia's fine. He's not injured. He was just so bad in that game that, it seemed like. So you get Valdez that goes 2 2/3 in Game 1. Garcia goes an inning plus, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Was terrible. Like I said, Odorizzi ate up 4. You go 2 2/3. You go an inning plus. Game 3, Urquidy goes 1 2/3. And Game 4, who we'll actually dive into right now, Greinke. At this point, it's like, listen, these starters aren't historically good. Like, Greinke was good, for about a decade of pitching. But he's getting older, and he's sort of a finesse, crafty, sort of right-handed. Like, he doesn't have what he used to have. In fact, he was falling off a cliff towards the end of the year, got injured. His starts prior to that were not very good against very subpar teams. The Rangers, I think, twice got to him for like 5 runs. He goes on the COVID IL. His ERA is now over 4. Didn't really deserve to make the roster. Pitched very shortly in Game 3 against the White Sox. Didn't pitch bad there, but only got like 2 outs before Dusty went to the bullpen. But at this point, listen, just give me the veteran starter. If you can get through 3-4 innings, we'll take it, because we really have nobody else at this point that can get us through much of anything. So Greinke, go out there and do what you do. Astros actually score first. Bregman hits a solo home run, so take the early lead. That's obviously good. And then, I mean, at this point, everything was just in the Red Sox favor. They get up bottom half of the first. Bogarts hits a 2-run home run. It's like, here we go again. I don't really feel like this. Playoff game's obviously extended, but at this point in time, after Bogarts hits that 2-run home run to put them ahead, every single pitch, every single fastball, it just seemed like everything was in the Red Sox favor, which is what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But it just seemed like the Astros could get away with no mistake. They found every hole. Every ball seemed to go over the fence. They get runners on. They hit grand slam. It just, everything was in the Red Sox favor. It just felt like the Astros here, down 2-1. You go down 3-1, and you got to play Game 5 at Fenway Park with their fans, and their fans are already loud as it is. Just did not sound or feel very good at all. But I will give our bullpen credit. So, yeah. Greinke doesn't last long. He only gives up those 2 runs, so it's hard to blame him a whole bunch for that. But Greinke goes an inning and a third. So you get 2 2/3, an inning plus, 1 2/3, and an inning and a third. So you do not have a pitcher, Valdez, who can't even get out of the third inning, actually went deeper than the 3 starters after him. I mean, Garcia only gets you 3 outs, comes out with an apparent sort of minor injury. But you get Urquidy, who gets you 5 outs, and you get Greinke, who gets you 4 outs, and then you're in to your bullpen, which has got to be sort of tired at this point because they have to pitch every single day. Now, the day offs obviously help, but still, it was a little troubling, to say the least. But Brooks Raley came. I actually got 2. You know, I've made my my thoughts on Brooks Raley pretty known on these podcasts throughout the year. But Brooks Raley, I will give him credit. Comes in, gets 2 outs. He actually walks. So he's facing 2 lefties with a righty in between. I believe Martinez might have been the righty in between those 2. But I want to say it was Schwarber and Devers were the 2 lefties. He walks Schwarber, the first batter, so it's like, way to go, Raley. You're in there to get the lefty. You walk him. But he was able to get Martinez and Devers to get out of the inning, which was big just to get through that inning, keeping it at 2 runs there. And then, Javier came in, pitched 3 great innings. He was fantastic. Did walk 2 guys, gave up 2 hits, but he struck out 3 and didn't allow any runs. So he was great and actually got us through 3 innings, keeping it at 2. The Astros offense at this point has gone silent. They can't get hits. They can't get walks. They can't even put pressure on the opposing pitcher, Nick Pivetta, of all people, shutting them down right now. So you start getting into the late innings here. The score is 2-1, so you don't feel like you're necessarily out of the game. But there's nothing in the last 25 innings the Astros have shown you that they can get a meaningful run at all. So I want to put things in perspective here, try to break this down as well as I can. It's funny how quickly things can change, because at about 10 o'clock on Tuesday night, the Astros we're through 7 innings, they're down 2-1. Down 2-1. The Red Sox need 6 outs, and they have a 3-run lead, and our backs are shoved up against the wall, and we got to play a Game 5 in less than about 15 hours. A little bit more than that. That's about 15. Let me think here. About 15 hours, because I had an early start on Wednesday. But we're in a position where we feel like we're on the brink of elimination. We can't turn things around quickly. We're done for here. Then Altuve hits the big home run there in the 8th inning off of, what's the guy's name? It's a weird, he's been their setup guy for the majority of the season, I believe. See if I can find his name here, but Whitlock. Not a tough name. But Whitlock, who I think has been their Garrett Whitlock, who's been their setup guy for majority of the year's numbers this year. Well, hold on. Yeah, his numbers this year with 8-4, 1.96 ERA. Regular season, of course, but he's been pretty shut down for him as a setup guy. But Altuve hits the big home run to tie it at that point, so you're feeling better about yourself. Obviously, still got to find a way to scratch another run across, but ninth inning comes around. They bring in Valdez. It was surprising to me. He being their sort of ace guy, but trying to get through the ninth, get to extra innings with the game tied. The Astros talked about, I go back to their line, but we talked about Javier going 3. Maton got in a scoreless good inning. Graveman 2. This Graveman who came out, this looked like the good Graveman, basically. He had all his sharp movement on his 2-seamers. Everything he was throwing looked good. He gets through 2 very big innings for us. Walking 1, but getting 2 strikeouts and making things pretty easy there. But yeah, the bullpen kept it right where it needed to be and gave the offense finally who broke out. Obviously the big home run by Altuve. Jason Castro coming in to pinch hit for atrocious Martin Maldonado offensively. Works the count. Now there's questionable third strike, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. Red Sox fans want to dwell on that. But yeah, he was able to lift a little soft, little line drive over the second baseman's reach, I believe. Correa comes around to score, and we take the lead 3-2, and then you get the big, the offense just broke out. I mean, they walk out Altuve. Brantley has the bases clearing double to make it 6-2. I think Gurriel chimed in with a 2-run single, and you get 7 runs, and in the blink of an eye, you just snap your fingers, and the offense just broke out right there and made the ninth inning, extremely easy from a nerve-wracking standpoint to go into that inning with a 1-run lead. Presley, who you like, he's been a good closer this year, but still, 1-run lead postseason at Fenway Park, that would have been some nail-biting times, but breaking it open, really after the Brantley 3-run double to make it 6-2, that really made me breathe a little bit easier, and the Astros just continued to play add-on, and it was 9-2. So, people want to talk about momentum. One of the guys I listen to his podcast every day, Charlie Palillo, hates the so-called momentum, and he thinks it's stupid to think that a team has momentum. But in the postseason, the way things were going, that just shifted everything, I felt like, in our favor. You close out the game. Series is tied. I mean, an hour ago, you felt like you were down 3-1, basically an elimination game. But at this point, the series is tied. And then you get out there in Game 5, earlier start. And, Sale, he had a few scoreless innings. Well, Jordan hit the big home run actually to start the second. Valdez was fantastic, just amazing. Desperately needed. He goes 8 innings. Valdez, this is the Valdez that we were seeing last year. So Valdez, like we talk about, when McCullers out, someone needed to step up. Valdez didn't do it Game 1. Luis Garcia didn't do it Game 2. Urquidy didn't do it Game 3. Greinke didn't do it Game 4. Finally got that much needed long outing we needed, and he went above and beyond expectations. Well, like with flying colors, he went well above and beyond his expectations. And our offense just did its thing again, scoring 9 runs, had the big 5-run. Let's see here, he had a big 5-run 6th inning after Jordan had 3 hits. He was fantastic. The home run, the single, the 2-run double. Gurriel had even Jose Siri chimed in with a 2-run single of his own. And yeah, Yuli had an RBI single, 2-run single there in the 9th. And that was smooth sailing. He was close through 5 innings, but the Astros broke it open in the 6th. And Valdez was in cruise control for a good part of the game. But he was throwing strikes, had good bite on that breaking ball, getting his ground balls. I mean, the one sort of issue he ran into, I believe it was the fifth inning. I was it the fifth inning? Was it the fifth inning where he, gave up a single, which was the first hit he had given up. It was either the fourth or the fifth inning. I can't remember exactly, but gave up a single after he set down the first 12 or whatever it was. It was 12 up, 12 down, so it might have been the fifth inning, but he gave up a single, then hit a batter. So you have a one-run lead here, and they starting to a little something cooking, first and second, nobody out. Dusty Baker actually makes a mound visit, not Brent Strom, just to say, hey, trust your stuff, calm down, you're good. And then right after that, you get the ground ball double play, ground out to first, and that inning cleaned up very quickly and easily. And then he goes another, 3 innings of scoreless baseball. So he was, well, actually he did give up a home run to Devers in the 7th. It was a solo shot. It really didn't matter because at that point it was 7-0. So, but yeah, Valdez was just, you can't say enough about that start and that spot at Fenway Park when we desperately needed it. He came through big time. 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He was incredible. And the offense made things also a lot easier, especially with the 5-run 6th to really, really make things a lot easier for us. And Stanek, it was between Stanek and Graveman. Stanek, who was one of the guys who actually didn't pitch in Game 4, came out and got the final outs in the final inning there to shut the door and actually get out of there with a much easy needed win. But I talk about crazy how quickly things changed in a 25-hour span. At 10 o'clock on Tuesday night, you're feeling like we got a game tomorrow. And we have to win it. Like, we're down 3-1. That's what you feel like at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Wednesday at like 8 p.m., you're up 3-2, sitting in the driver's seat going home. So I give major credit to people like Valdez and our offense. I mean, when we needed them to step up, we needed something late, they've come through. You think about the playoffs so far, the Astros actually haven't played a lot of close games. Now, Game 1 of this series obviously was a close 5, hard-fought, Correa, Altuve, big 2-run home run to tie it, Correa, the go-ahead home run. And holding on, basically, to win that game was, the close game of the series. The Astros, the White Sox, 6-1 in Game 1, not a problem. 9-4 in Game 2, not a problem. Obviously got blown out in Game 3, but they win Game 4, 10-1, no problem. So no stress really there. Game 1, a little stressful, but it is Game 1 against the Red Sox, of course. But Game 2 is a blowout, Red Sox favor. Game 3, blowout, Red Sox favor. Game 4 and 5 ended up being blowouts in the Astros' favor. So, but in the span of, 22 hours, you go from on the brink of elimination to now in the driver's seat to get to the World Series. It's just crazy how quickly things change that way. And I am a proponent of momentum, because I think the Astros stole it back with that big 9th inning they had, getting to Evaldi and then Martin Perez, and really just Dodgers fans were just in shock, basically. I mean, they were pumped up. Team had won Game 4 or Game 3. They were on top of the world. They felt like they were going to knock out the Astros in 5 games, move to the World Series, and they got all this mojo and momentum, and they're just on top of the world. And we just came out and said, hold it. Let the offense get going, which it did, came through. They opened up the floodgates, and now the Astros with a nice, and they're sitting pretty right now. Need one more win. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Astros still need one more win. The off day probably does the Red Sox more favor. Just a day to sort of, regroup and reset and relax for them. More so in favor for them than for us. We'd like to play today if we could, but not for my sake, since I'll be hopping on a plane here in about 4.5 hours. I'm happy the Astros actually have the off day. But yeah, so Garcia is probably going to start tomorrow. We'll see what we get there. But again, the bullpen will be well rested, so, Odorizzi is also available out of the bullpen. We'll see. I mean, you think about Urquidy and Greinke, their starts were so short. Now, they weren't good, but they both threw 50-ish pitches, so even if we needed them, it's not like they wore themselves out. By the way, Valdez only threw 90-something pitches to get through 8 innings. It was also very economical in his outing yesterday. But, yeah, the Astros can actually win in advance. Valdez will need not that great, but similar starts to that. I don't want to look ahead quite yet because we still need to play one more game where we can win. I like the fact that they got 2 games here and they're at home. So obviously you want to wrap things up tomorrow. That's going to be the goal. They'll have Eovaldi now. Eovaldi obviously pitched game 2. We did get 3 runs off of him. Obviously, the Red Sox were up 8-9-0 at the point, so those runs didn't mean a whole lot to him. So he didn't really pitch through stressful innings, but we did get to Eovaldi in a tie game in the 9th inning in game 4. So, the more we see a guy, the better your chances are going to be. So we'll see. I don't know how sharp he could come out and look fantastic and force a game 7. He could. But he pitched in game 4 out of the bullpen through 20-something pitches, and, I don't know if that'll throw him out of whack a little bit. If he's not as sharp as he usually is, we'll wait and see. But obviously they're going to have the pitching advantage. I mean, it's been like that all series. We lead it 3-2, so. But yeah, so a lot going on there. I couldn't even remember where we left things off my last podcast after 2 games, but you best thing you could ask for was 2-3 at Fenway, and they did that. So we come home, and yeah, that game 5 is a big swing game when the series is tied 2-2. You take that game, you feel good about your chances, even if you're going on the road. But even better, the Astros coming home. So we'll see with Garcia. We'll have people lined up. Our bullpen will be rested. So even if you can't go deep, if you can just keep the runs at a minimum, and hopefully our offense can find a way to get to Eovaldi. But I'll be in Milwaukee. I'll probably be like in somewhere. I can't even pronounce the city we'll be in to watch this game tomorrow, but I will bring my laptop and everything I have here set up to Wisconsin with me. Hopefully I can find a time, maybe Sunday night, to talk to you. And hopefully I'm talking about, another AL pennant for the Astros. But yeah, I'll wrap things up there. Love to hear your comments below. Trying to think, but yeah, I mean, I talked about basically 3 games, so that's why we're at 28 minutes here. But love to hear your comments section below. I got to get out of here soon, so I'll wrap things up. We'll talk to you Sunday, maybe even Monday, because I'll be back home Monday early afternoon, so that might be the best time. But if I can find time, maybe Sunday night, if we get to the hotel early enough, maybe get on. But yeah, I'll definitely try to keep you updated as best as possible. But yeah, feeling good, feeling very good. Coming back home, up 3-2. Couldn't ask for a whole lot more. So yeah, wrap things up there. Talk to you next time.